Deadpool starts the show. Deadpool, thank you for the chat, and it is the chat that gets it going, buddy. So thank you, and everybody owes Deadpool a debt of gratitude for getting the show started today. Yes, very good, my friend. Very good. You're very good, you. You're very good, you. You're very good.
Prepare yourself.
You're very good. That'd be funny if he said, you're very good, instead of prepare yourself. You're very good. Patrick John Welder, Hoot and Howl. Hello, everybody. We just hit the 24-hour high of Bitcoin right now.
It starts with an F.
Right there, 24-hour high of Bitcoin, everybody, right now.
Bullshit! Fuck you! 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 Fuck you all the fuckers! Fuck you! Fuck you! Fucking shit! Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you, motherfuckers! Fuck you, Hollywood! Fuck you! Fuck you, motherfuckers! Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you!
Hippie chick, hello. Hello, Trendy's Trendy reporting in live from Orlando, Florida, home of Trendy has jobs and all things Trendy, where you find me and you in the hashtag Trendy's on all forms, social media, especially at rumble.com/user/Nave's Garden. That's where it's all happening. This is the Ox Project from Orlando, Florida. Who? Pete? Steve? What's up, everybody? Yeah, don't do that. Don't listen to that guy. He's bad. That's bad. So I had a really nice morning. I took the dog out for a walk, and there were 3 deer out near my house. And 2 of them were just kind of like not having it, and they just kind of turned around and walked. But this third doe, I see her all the time. She's got a weird eye. And she just stood there and waited for me and my dog, and we walked. We got 15 feet away from her, and she just stood there. We're right out in front of the house, man, and we stood there with each other for 10 minutes. And I made sure the dog was nice and calm the whole time, and it was really cool. My neighbor pulled up in his car and kind of scared her off, but it was really cool up until then, man. We were just hanging out, just a few feet away from each other, and she was being really sweet, and we got like closer, and then she like stomped her foot down. I was like, okay, we'll back up. We backed up like 2 feet, and then she was cool. She's like, I don't want you closer than that. She's like, 10 feet away, I know I can get away from that dog. 8 feet, that's cutting it close. He's a little sprinter, and she knows it. She's seen him sprint before, man. You know? Like a little Barney Rubble on the ground, dude. So, watch your coffee, I know, right? Not going to spell it this time. You're welcome to the show, guys. Now, I read Cody Johnston and thought of the country music star, but that's Cody Johnston. No, this is Cody Johnston with the T? That's weird. Hey, no, don't do that. Don't do it. 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 No. Don't do it. Don't do it. Kitty puke time. Kitty puke time. There you go, cat. Puke outside. I was like, what's that sound? That's the sound of a cat's about to puke. Oh my God. Come on, cough that hairball up, bro. How come I put you out? Because, I grabbed him by his belly and it made him stop. Cough that hairball up. Now that you're outside, that's the place to do it. Anyhow, we're talking about hairballs and cats. It's fun. Buck Biden. Buck Biden's here. Buck Biden. Anyway, I've got a great video for you. And I'm saying that they're always great. And I haven't seen this one yet. And I don't know. Hey, Nick, we missed you, buddy. Good to see you back. And, the thing about Cody is he's always entertaining. He's always funny. He's always funny. So I have no problem just pulling this up without even reviewing it first and just showing it on my show. Because I know you guys are going to enjoy him because he's crazy and he's funny. He's just totally over the top, always says the wrong things. It's like that he knows he shouldn't say. He acts like a child. He's fucking hilarious. Anyway, I want you to enjoy this with me because he's going to be talking about our favorite subject today, cannabis. So this should be interesting. I'm thinking, right? So let's put this over here and let's grab, let's go like this. Great. So the name of this podcast is Some More News. And he's got another podcast, I think it's called Some More News or something like that. But anyway, he's going to be discussing cannabis in the current state. And let's just pay attention, see what he's got to say, because I have no idea what we're in for. So this should be interesting. And meanwhile, keep your eye on that Bitcoin. We just hit 27,500. Nice.
Let's see. Upbeat, euphoric vibes. I like that. And take half of one and see how you feel. I'm not doing that. Okay, so 45 to 590 minutes to take effect. That is enough time. Okay.
He just eats the whole thing. I love it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, they're so sour.
Gummies.
Take that, YouTube monetization. Hi, hello, news horses. Here is some more of the news. You know how people get, high? We love getting high, don't we, folks? And the government knows this about us. They know. The government knows. As of this episode, 38 states have legalized cannabis for medicinal use, along with 3 inhabited U.S. territories and the District of Columbia. Additionally, 23 states, as well as Guam and D.C., have legalized cannabis just for the purposes of hanging around and getting really stoned.
He's calling it recreational. We like to use the cannabis while we get educated on the cannabis. Some More News with Cody Johnston. Everybody check it out.
8 more states have declined to go for full legalization, but have at least decriminalized most or all pot-related offenses. In 2014, Congress passed the Rohrabacher-Farr Amendment as part of an omnibus spending bill. While this didn't change the federal legal status of cannabis, it prohibits the Justice Department from spending any funds to interfere with the state's implementation of medical weed laws. Big picture, the federal government agreed to get out of the way of states and let them make decisions on this stuff for themselves. That law has to be renewed each fiscal year to remain in effect. It is currently active through September 2023, the current month and year. Congratulations to laws and months and years. So with all of this movement in the last decade or so, the U.S. should be well on its way to become a stoner's paradise, like the first half of a Cheech and Chong movie with
where the local highway cops figure out what they're up to. Or an ad for Cheech and Chong weed gummies under every single post on Twitter. It's everywhere. And culturally, we have seen a major shift in terms of pot use's mainstream cultural acceptability. While the archetypal pot smoker used to be a lazy, slovenly slacker with zero motivation like knocked-up Seth Rogen, today's pot smoker is a sexy, ambitious go-getter who's coming to steal your girl like the fableman Seth Rogen. But despite weed being so much more acceptable and available in more varieties and assorted products than ever before, not all of the promises we were made about decriminalization and legalization have actually come to pass. And that's what today's episode is all about. Weed. Legal weed, to be specific. And to be more specificer, how is the legal weed industry doing in America? Buckle in for this hard-hitting, in-depth, oh my god,
it's so pretty.
It's kicking in.
The colors.
It's kicking in too much. 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 Am I bleeding or sweating?
Am I bleeding or sweating?
It's kicking in too much. Checking in with legalized weed.
That was from,
I should watch Eon Flux.
I forgot the name of that movie. I remember that.
You guys remember that show? Oh, okay.
Remember that show? You guys remember that show?
Together. Okay. I should watch Eon Flux.
He's high.
Okay. Hi. I'm Cody Johnston, here with the news. You know that. Okay. Hi.
I don't have these problems when I smoke.
We're talking about weed in America.
He should smoke more.
Just gotta read the teleprompter, and that's all you gotta do. Okay, here we go.
I hope you guys are enjoying this. Let me know in the chat.
Back when President Nixon declared an American war on drugs, only about 12% of the populace felt that cannabis use.
Okay, everybody, no law regarding cannabis.
October
Cheers.
2022, and the Politico poll found that 6 in 10 voters approved of legal weed in the United States. That jumps to 71% if you just include Democrats. But even if you look exclusively at Republicans, 47% want to keep the leaf on the streets. Even 45% of voters over the age of 65 agree, and those people are old. And this isn't coastal elites versus real Americans in the heartland either. When you map out the responses, it turns out that red and blue states are both pretty green. In addition to just being something a lot of people wanted for getting high purposes, the case to decriminalize and or legalize cannabis also included a multitude of practical benefits. States that legalized cannabis sales were expected to get a major financial boost and a new source of tax revenue. In California alone, advocates predicted that legalized pot would bring in around $1 billion per year. Massachusetts projected that recreational pot sales would net them $63 million in new tax revenue in their very first year. This money wasn't just promised in the abstract on a theoretical basis. Politicians and lawmakers were laying out grand ambitions, helping to make the case for cannabis legalization by pointing to all the benefits we would share from
Gnarly
the
Gagger! Thank you for reminding everybody to hit the like button. Thank you, Gnarly
Colorado and
Gagger.
Washington would be the first states to legalize recreational pot. After that, several more states like Alaska and Oregon would follow with the general understanding that the revenue would at least in part go to things like schools. In 2016, California voters passed Proposition 64, legalizing recreational cannabis in that state. And a big part of the argument was that the new tax revenue would go into youth programs, substance abuse treatment, other public health initiatives, and restoring the natural environment. They also really tried to pretend that they were the first state to do this.
We want to turn to the historic night here in California. What affects you the most?
Yeah, voters legalized the recreational use of marijuana.
And it's time for change, and California now has sent that message powerfully to the rest of the nation. That is a point of pride from my perspective.
We did medical marijuana, and that was a groundbreaker for the rest
So
of the
weird
country
everyone
as
says
well. It involved
marijuana.
Some other states.
Ah, yes, California, the historic first state to be the 5th state to legalize recreational weed. Great work, get over yourselves. Anyway, Voters were also told that decriminalization was going to free people who were unnecessarily or unfairly imprisoned for non-violent drug offenses. We weren't just going to
Time for
prevent
another
people
on,
in the
says
future
Charlie Geiger.
from being thrown in prison for cannabis possession, but we're going to give those who had already been convicted of related charges their freedom while also providing them a shot at a better future by clearing out prior convictions. Expunging the records of felons with drug-related offenses provides them with a host of benefits, making it easier to apply for new jobs, loans, homes and apartments, professional licenses, along with all the other basic services the rest of us take for granted. This was about righting historical wrongs, correcting the drug war's 50-plus year legacy of brutality, racial bias, cruelty, and trauma, while also
Harmony is over a penny, everybody.
So they can finally
We did it.
understand the film Cloud Atlas. Not a bad film when you get past all the Hugh Grant and tribal makeup stuff, but maybe it's a bad example. I don't know. I don't remember it. Have I seen it? Watch that. Movies. Another thing this would promise to destigmatize was, of course, the process of buying and selling weed.
1 penny Harmony.
Legalization
That means I'm
activists
making
claim
money.
that legalization would make the cannabis industry safer, bringing it out of the shadowy underworld of drug cartels and into the light of overpriced Apple Store-esque dispensaries, taking over all the storefronts where Froyo shops and Barnes & Nobles once stood. Free and open competition in the cannabis market should naturally drive prices down and quality up. As well, the pot industry would now be subject to the kinds of regulation, oversight, and transparency that you get for other legal industries. Along with making the product safer, this also meant the consumer would be spending way less time surrounded by Scarface posters in a basement apartment waiting for a dude named Donkey Punch to get home from his shift at Ruby Tuesdays just so you can stare at his fish tank while he pauses Madden and weighs out a single eighth. Cannabis research was another area that was promised to see big benefits
plug's got a ferret.
legalization. Until this point, studies into the potential advantages and therapeutic uses for cannabis have long been stymied by its legal status. But states that
Bro, my plug totally has a ferret. How fucking funny is that? My plug has a ferret, and it likes to slink around and hang out with its buddies in the grasses and the town.
pass these new reforms, we're now going to open up new avenues for research and funding.
I'm just saying, man, 1 penny Harmony, everybody.
Analyst, Dr.
For
Vin
all of you
Gupta,
who've doubted
pointed out
me,
the FDA can't
I've
evaluate cannabis
implored
products from a
you
health and
to
safety
get
test
into this
because the federal
market.
government
Now
continues
is
to
the
view cannabis
time.
as a Schedule 1 drug.
Now is the time. The time is now. There's a song like that. Now's the time is now. Sing my song. Now's the time is now. Buy some crypto. Now's the time is now. Yo, Nay, when's a good time to buy crypto? Now. Imagine $250,000 Bitcoin. And you didn't get someone that was 27,000. 250,000 Bitcoin, 250,000 Bitcoin, 250,000 Bitcoin. I'm pumped. Are you? I'm pumped. I'm totally pumped. Look at the spike, though. Look at the spike. Look at the spike. 499. 499 is the high. 499 is the high so far. Hitting 433. Gonna see. Try to go over 500. Gonna try to hit over 500. We're definitely going over 500. Oh my God, we're going. We got a massive inverse head and shoulders. We are going up. Dude, there's a massive inverse head and shoulders on this, guys. You want to see it? Oh my God, look. Oh my God, I'm freaking out. I'm gonna have a heart attack. Hold on. Holy shit. Look. Shoulder, head, shoulder. This is a massive head and shoulder. You go from here to here and you double it, and that is where we're going. 30,000, here we come, baby. We're on a fucking mission from Mars. We're going to Jupiter. Drops of Jupiter in her hair, yeah. Hey, yeah. She walks like summer and talk like rain. Remind me that there's time to change. Hey, 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 hey. 10-10, harmony. Feel the pain. Feel the pain. Feel the pain. 10-10 harmony. What is going on? Now's the time to get into this market, guys. Before it hits 30,000. You get to say, hey, man, I got into Bitcoin before it hit 30,000 because this guy Nay was begging me. He was at 27.3, and we were like, nah. He's at 28. We're like, nah. 28.9. We're like, nah. He's at 29.5, and we start taking him seriously, and we all start buying under 30. You'll still be good, man. If this goes to 250,000, how are you going to feel? And you bought some. You're going to feel great. You know why? BitConnect! Yeah. BitConnect! 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 Oh, ha! BitConnect! Yeah. Still $4.99. Definitely gonna go over $4.99. Gonna hit $3.94, $3.82. Gotta hit $4.99, $3.85. It's going back down. It's gotta go back up. Get back to $4.20. I like the $4.20. Wouldn't mind a $7.10. $27.710. That's what I want to see. $27.710. Definitely see that. That made me feel good. I like to drive the price of Bitcoin up. I like to drive. $4.20. Bad-ow! Bad-ow! Wow! Wow! Billy Bong Thornton, howdy ho, work with the headphones and podcasting it up. I'll try not to yell too loud in your ears, Billy. Am I going to pay for the new subscription if it goes through? Are you? Are you going to stay on Twitter? It sucks to be us, bro. I honestly haven't even thought about it yet. You know why? Because I heard from some sources, some alternate sources that are saying they're not doing that. They're just adding another pay tier. That there's still going to be a free tier for people like me who want to be silenced forever and feel like we're screaming into the wind, because you know what? It protects us. It keeps us from going to prison. And I like that. Silence me, man. You're keeping me alive. Your silencing is keeping me going. I'm sure. I don't need the attention. Back to Cody Johnston. What? That's weird.
The same classification as heroin, which is wild and something we will circle back to, because despite all the progress we've made and seen, that currently remains true. Weed and heroin are on the same tier in the eyes of the federal government. And for that, and a lot of other reasons, spoilers, most of the promises we're outlining here did not pan out. That is why we're doing this episode. But before we go any further, it's worth noting that it's okay to want to legalize weed just for the sake of doing that. There doesn't need to be an added benefit. Everyone likes getting high, even nuns and bears. So it's super okay to simply celebrate that the weed doors are slowly opening. But you should also want that industry to be thriving and effective and safe. Otherwise, those doors might shut once more. In fact, in terms of state legalization, the process has slowed. Part of that is because there are only so many states and a lot of them have already legalized it. But there are still many holdouts, specifically red states, because they're squares, you see. And despite its national popularity, most people seem to agree that we're a long way off from any federal legalization, because Joe Biden is also a square. I mean, they all work in the government after all, a bunch of nerds, except for Ted Cruz, who is rugged and loves his beers in a very natural way, and not at all desperate kind of way. The taste of beer. Aside from politicians,
Roses.
The weed industry itself also stalled in 2022.
Roses.
And in some places, weed sales even reversed.
In California and here in the salad bowl of the world, crops are thriving, according to the Monterey County Crop Report released on Tuesday, except cannabis. The report shows that cannabis values saw a decline.
She says
of
cannabis. I'm in love with
54%
this
from
woman.
2021 to 2022.
Who are
If
you?
you ask the business owners themselves,
Who are
they're
you,
pointing to the same
you
stuff a lot of
non-racist,
retail shops
intelligent
complain
woman?
about. Lack of foot traffic,
Using the
oversaturation,
correct terminology?
competition with
What, do you
bigger
watch
fish,
Nay's Garden?
taxes, and of course,
She said it
regulation.
twice.
But that's on top of a lot of additional problems unique to this industry. Problems we will be getting into, along with looking at what exactly cannabis legalization has done to the industry.
Thank you, Cody.
as a whole
Every time he says
and
cannabis.
where those taxes are going. It's all not great. So that's where we will be coming from here. But to do a second, cooler disclaimer, I'm not saying these new legalization and decriminalization laws have not done any good, or that we're never going to see any of these positive benefits. If you care about smuggling at the border, you might be happy to hear that legalizing the
You guys
pot
hear Cody
has
okay,
likely
right?
reduced the flow of illegal cannabis into the country. And if you
I
care
don't know
about
who
the
Adam
precious
Bierman is,
jerk
Johnson.
children, a March 2023 paper from the Journal of Economic Literature also found
I
that
should be the
minors
cannabis
weren't
czar.
using cannabis at any higher rates post-legalization.
There would be no
Plus, they
greater
also
person to
noted
be the
that
cannabis
teens
czar
seem to
than
consume
me.
less alcohol when medical weed is also available.
Because you guys
Some
know,
early data
you
also
guys
suggests
know.
legal weed may be having an impact on the levels of
No
opioid
law
deaths,
regarding
but the
cannabis, man. I don't
researchers
even have a
haven't
job.
reached
I'll
any
just
firm
sit there and
conclusions.
not have a job.
Authors Mark Anderson and Daniel
And just
Rees
make sure that
suggest
everybody knows.
that
Nope, there's no
everyone's
law regarding
predictions about
cannabis.
dispensaries
I
were
enforce
spot on.
that.
Specifically, that it's trickier for teens to access
I
cannabis
enforce that no
now
one
that
is trying to
licensed
pass
dispensaries
laws
requiring
regarding
age
cannabis.
have
That's my
largely
job.
replaced independently operating drug dealers. Some studies have also linked
He
wider
owns
access to
MedMen.
legal
I don't know what
weed
MedMen
with a
is.
drop in suicide rates, particularly for males between the ages of 40 and 49. But again, we don't necessarily need any benefits here, because we like getting high, except when we get... But to do a second, cooler disclaimer.
Listen,
I'm not saying these new legalization and decriminalization laws have not done any good, or that we're never going to see any of these positive benefits. If you care about smuggling at the border, you might be happy to hear that legalizing the pot has likely reduced the flow of illegal cannabis into the country. And if you care about the precious jerk children, a March 2023 paper from the Journal of Economic Literature also found that minors weren't using cannabis at any higher rates post-legalization. Plus, they also noted that teens seem to consume less alcohol when medical weed is also available. Some early data also suggests legal weed may be having an impact on the levels of opioid deaths, but the researchers haven't reached any firm conclusions yet. Authors Mark Anderson and Daniel Rees suggest that everyone's predictions about dispensaries were spot on, specifically that it's trickier for teens to access cannabis now that licensed dispensaries requiring proof of age have largely replaced independently operating drug dealers. Some studies have also linked wider access to legal weed with a drop in suicide rates,
Right there.
particularly for males between the ages of 40 and 49. But again,
that's important that all of you grasp what he just said. Suicide rates drop in areas that have legal cannabis. I wonder, for those men, great. I wonder how it is for all other ages. Why aren't they mentioned? I'm kind of
we
curious.
don't necessarily need any benefits here, because we like getting high, except when we get way too high right before filming. But what was I to do? Not eat the edibles? I mean, I had them, so... Oh, see who it is.
That's his phone ringer.
From Katie. So,
That's awesome. It's like a Texas
Hey, buddy.
Chainsaw Massacre scream.
that's nice. Watching on the hidden cams that you got too high, too high, too high, too high. She keeps repeating it. Too high, too high, tooth die, tooth die. Do you want me to call the cops so they can come help? If you don't text back, I'll call the cops and or the FBI. Happy Honda days. That's... 1 second. Okay, please, don't call the cops. Thank you. She's not texting back. Man, I cannot deal with the cops right now. Okay. Oh, okay. Thank God. It's just an emoji of a tooth. What does that mean? Damn it. Okay.
What does that mean?
Okay, I'm gonna.
It's a
call
tooth.
Her. I'm gonna call her. I don't wanna. Can't just text. Okay, I'll call her. I'm gonna build up the confidence to call her, and we're cut to some ads while you do that. Okay. Hello to my past and future selves. You know, being trapped in a temporal paradox loop can be stressful. I literally just killed like 4 versions of myself. There they are. They had it coming. Chewy. And luckily, afterward, a box of Next Evo natural CBD gummies materialized.
I usually skip the.
And boy,
I usually
they
skip
really
the
took
things,
the edge
but
off.
I'm not going to skip
According to
this
Next
one.
Evo, their CBD products are clinically proven to absorb 4 times better than regular CBD oil. They're heavily tested so that you get exactly what's on the label. And they taste good too. None of that hempy aftertaste you get in other CBD products. I take their sleep support complex whenever I get the time shakes at bedtime, which is every night, or every previous night. Ah, time, she is a confusing mistress. You know, I should put some in the time machine actually, and send them back to past me to make sure I try them. I'm gonna do that later. I should include the Next Evo Stress CBD complex as well, which combines CBD with ashwagandha to help defeat stress. Take that! Just like how I defeated all those pharaohs and me's down there. It turns out pharaohs can't handle dynamite very well. So, tip for you, slow down the news ticker in your mind, with this, upgrade to better natural solutions from Next Evo Naturals. Go to nextevo.com and use promo code MORENEWS to get 25% off. That's 25% off at nextevo.com. Promo code MORENEWS. Okay, so either something's wrong with my phone, or I keep calling her. She picks up and then says she can't hear me. But I can hear her just fine. She says I sound fozzled, and I don't know what that means. And now she's threatening to call an ambulance to have them perform defozzling on my tongue. I think she's messing around, right? She's just being funny, right? She's not gonna call anyone. She's not gonna call anyone. Okay, breathe. Just gotta breathe. Prodigy. All right, let's keep going.
I warned you
with
all
the
about
weed
Cody
stuff,
when we started this,
Before
so
the break, we were outlining
you were
the current
prepared for
state
this.
of the cannabis industry and foreshadowing
420
that
Bitcoin, 27,420,
Now, here,
27,000.
After the break, we will dig into that, starting with the tax of it all. As Max Lord might say, legal weed is good, but it could be better. From Wonder Woman 1984. That's the bit from Wonder Woman 1984. You can rewatch it on Max. If you don't believe me, it's probably still on there. 90% sure, the hit Wonder Woman 1984. It's true that many states are now collecting a new kind of tax that has very quickly become a key source of revenue. In fact, in some states like Colorado, pot taxes are
There's
already
a whole
generating
bunch of
more
volume
revenue
coming
than
into the
their
market right now,
boozy
guys.
Counterparts. In 2021, aggregate revenue for all states that had legalized recreational cannabis sales hit $3.7 billion. Nonetheless, actual revenue from weed taxes has fallen well short of the wide-eyed pre-legalization projections. As we pointed out, many states have recently seen sales drop, but that's not new either. In 2019, California's cannabis excise tax revenue came up short from their projections.
Storage is number one, guys. The one that I picked.
Gavin Newsom's proposed budget
STORJ,
expected
storage.
$355 million from the industry. And just a few months
I
later,
found that a long
prediction
time
would be
ago.
brought down to $288 million. And while not the highest, California taxes the shit out of their weed. In fact, one of the theories why
doubled my
sales are
money on
down is because the state simply made its cannabis tax rate too high, driving some consumers back to the illegal market. This stumble robbed residents of the initial financial boost that a lot of other states have seen in the immediate post-legalization period. The same thing apparently happened in New York State, which brings in less cannabis tax revenue than Montana, Illinois, Massachusetts, Oregon, and Michigan, despite a significantly larger population. Still, by 2022, cannabis tax revenues were down essentially nationwide. And while voters and taxpayers were told that this revenue would go to things like education or rehabilitation.
How's it going, bro?
Just got up. About to go to this dang lumber yard here in a second.
Right on.
I think it opens at 11 or something. Good morning, good morning, good morning to you.
That's nice. Listen to you singing, bro.
Oh, man. Dude, I was so tired from work yesterday. I freaking slept until like now. That's crazy. I usually wake up at like 4 every morning.
Bro, you want to hear something funny?
What?
We were watching this. Everybody remember this, we're 20 minutes in right now. Okay, that's where we got to go back to, but I got to show Pinoy this shit.
Wait, time out.
Yeah.
Does that say 27,380?
Yes.
Oh my god, bro, I told you that shit going all the way up, bro.
Bro, look at Harmony. Harmony's at a penny 10. A penny 1010. So it's over.
A tenth, right? Tenth of a penny?
It's over a penny.
That's fucking crazy.
It's doing good.
Do you think the market's making a turnaround from the fucking shit it went through last week? Everything was down last week, right?
There's going to be there's going to be an announcement, and this is in anticipation of that announcement that's tomorrow.
Uh-huh.
I believe that people are just attempting to get ahead of it. I think this is it right here. He says it. That's 6 minutes in. I don't know if it was that long in. I don't want to watch all 6 minutes of this. It might have been at the very beginning. He does a whole bunch of funny shit, and it's like, okay, I think it's going to be, okay, we'll start here.
And the government knows this about us. They know. The government knows. As of this episode, 38 states have legalized cannabis for medicinal use, along with 3 inhabited U.S. territories and the District of Columbia. Additionally, 23 states, as well as Guam and D.C., have legalized cannabis just for the purposes of hanging around and getting really stoned. 8 more states have declined to go for full legalization, but have at least decriminalized most or all pot-related offenses.
We're pumping.
In 2014, Congress passed the Rohrabacher-Farr Amendment as part of an omnibus spending bill. While this didn't change the federal legal status of cannabis, it prohibits the Justice Department from spending any funds to interfere with the state's implementation of medical weed laws. Big picture, the federal government agreed to get out of the way of states and let them make decisions on this stuff for
466.
themselves. That law has to be renewed each fiscal year to remain in effect, and is currently active through
499 is the high. 470, guys.
The current month and year. Congratulations to
Here we go.
laws.
Here we go.
And months and years.
Here we go.
So with all of this movement in the last decade or so,
499 is the high. 472.
Become a stoner's
470.
paradise. Like the first half of a Cheech and Chong movie before the local highway cops figure out what they're up to. Or an ad for Cheech and Chong weed gummies under every single post on Twitter. It's everywhere.
It
and
is.
Culturally,
That's so funny. I've
we have
seen it.
seen a major shift in terms of pot use's mainstream cultural acceptability. While the archetypal pot smoker used to be a lazy, slovenly slacker with zero motivation like knocked up Seth Rogen, today's pot smoker is a sexy, ambitious go-getter who's coming to steal your girl like the fableman Seth Rogen. But despite weed being so much more acceptable and available in more varieties and assorted products than ever before, not all of the promises we were made about decriminalization and legalization have actually come to pass. And that's what today's episode is all about. Weed. Legal weed, to be specific. And to be more specific, how is the legal weed industry doing in America? Buckle in for this hard-hitting, in-depth. Oh my God!
Beasel's all, notice me. I have the green ball. Notice me.
That's his favorite ball.
Dude. Damn.
It's kicking in. Ah, it's kicking in too much. 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 Am I bleeding or sweating? It's kicking in too much. Checking in with legalized weed. I should watch Eon Flux. You guys remember that show? Oh, okay. Wow. Get it together. Okay. I should watch Eon Flux. Watch. Flux. Okay. Hi. I'm Cody Johnston, here with the news. You know that. Okay. Hi. All right. So we're talking about weed in America. You just got to read the teleprompter, man. You just got to read the teleprompter, and that's all you got to do. Okay. Here we go. Hi. So, back when President Nixon declared an American war on drugs, only about 12% of the populace felt that cannabis use should be legal. Cut to October of 2022, and a Politico poll found that 6 in 10 voters approved of legal weed in the United States. That jumps to 71% if you just include Democrats, but even if you look exclusively at Republicans, 47% want to keep the leaf on the streets. Even 45% of voters over the age of 65 agree, and those people are old. And this isn't coastal elites versus real Americans in the heartland either. When you map out the responses, it turns out that red and blue states are both pretty green. In addition to just being something a lot of people wanted for getting high purposes, the case to decriminalize and or legalize cannabis also included a multitude of practical benefits. States that legalized cannabis sales were expected to get a major financial boost and a new source of tax revenue. In California alone, advocates predicted that legalized pot would bring in around $1 billion per year. Massachusetts projected that recreational pot sales would net $63 million in new
$4.99 is the 24-hour high, guys.
This money,
look at this,
promised in the abstract on a theoretical basis. Politicians and lawmakers
lay
out grand ambitions, helping to make the case for cannabis legalization by pointing to all the benefits we would share from the resulting revenue boost. And in 2012, Colorado and Washington would be the first states to legalize recreational
$4.92.
After that, several states like Alaska and Oregon would follow with the general understanding that the revenue would at least in part
we're going to blast right
like
through
schools.
This.
In 2016, California voters passed Proposition 64, legalizing recreational cannabis in that state. And a big part of the argument was that the new tax revenue would go into things like youth programs, substance abuse treatment, other public health initiatives, and
when was this thing? I thought it was near the beginning.
They also really tried to pretend that they were the first state to do this.
We want to turn to the historic night here in California.
We hit 27,500, guys.
Yeah, voters legalize the recreational use of marijuana.
And it is time for change. And California now has sent that message powerfully to the rest of the nation. That is a point of pride from my perspective.
$1 higher.
Medical marijuana, and that was a groundbreaker for the rest of the country as well. We followed some other states.
Ah, yes, California, the historic first state to be the 5th state to legalize recreational weed. Great work. Get over yourselves. Anyway, voters were also told that decriminalization was going to free people who were unnecessarily or unfairly imprisoned for nonviolent drug offenses. We weren't just going to prevent people in the future from being thrown in prison for cannabis possession, but we're going to give those who had already been convicted of related charges their freedom while also providing them a shot at a better future by clearing out prior convictions. Expunging the records of felons with drug-related offenses provides them with a host of benefits, making it easier to apply for new jobs, loans, homes and apartments, professional licenses, along with all the other basic services the rest of us take for granted. This was about righting historical wrongs, correcting the drug war's 50-plus year legacy of brutality, racial bias, cruelty, and trauma, while also allowing people to get super high so they can finally understand the film Cloud Atlas. Not a bad film when you get past all the Hugh Grant and try to make up stuff. Maybe it's a bad example. I don't know. I don't remember it. Have I seen it? Watch that. Watch movies.
Watch
Another
movies.
thing this would promise to destigmatize was, of course, the process of buying and selling weed. Legalization advocates claimed that legalization would make the cannabis industry safer, bringing it out of the shadowy underworld of drug cartels and into the light of overpriced Apple Store-esque dispensaries, taking over all the storefronts where froyo shops and Barnes & Nobles once stood. Free and open competition in the cannabis market should naturally drive prices down and quality up. As well, the pot industry would now be subject to the kinds of regulation, oversight, and transparency that you get for other legal industries. Along with making the product safer, this also meant the consumer would be spending way less time surrounded by Scarface posters in a basement apartment waiting for a dude named Donkey Punch to get home from his shift at
Here.
Ruby Tuesdays just so you can stare at his fish tank while he pauses Madden and weighs out a single eighth.
Ferret interaction would
Cannabis
go down.
Research was another area that was promised to see big benefit.
Dude, how did we miss that?
Dude, the only thing that legalization has done is bring the quality down nationwide.
Bro.
Literally.
Bro. How did we miss the ferret part?
Oh, I know, dude. That shit just popped in like a subliminal, dude. You seen that shit?
Dude, there's a part here I wanted you to see about a ferret, but I didn't see it, and I'm like, we must have just watched it. But
of drug cartels and into the light of overpriced Apple Store-esque dispensaries, taking over all the storefronts where froyo shops and Barnes & Nobles once stood. Free and open competition in the cannabis market should naturally drive prices down and quality up. As well, the pot industry would now be subject to the kinds of regulation, oversight, and transparency that you get for other legal industries. Along with making the product safer, this also meant the consumer would be spending way less time surrounded by Scarface posters in a basement apartment waiting for a dude named Donkey Punch to get home from his shift at Ruby Tuesdays just so you can stare at his fish tank while he pauses Madden and weighs out a single eighth.
ferret interaction would go down 200%. Dude, it must be before that he says that makes the comment about the ferret.
What would make it go down 200%, dude?
He makes a comment. I can't believe we're missing it, man. Oh my god, it's a total comment about ferrets, bro.
Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah.
Yes. And it's
Yes.
funny. It's funny. It's... I don't know where he was talking. I don't know how we missed it. That's what's driving me crazy, because I was sitting here waiting for it, and he must have said it, because then they make that.
I don't know. We're trying to figure it out now. If I knew, I'd tell you right away.
You get for other legal industries. Along with making the product safer, this also meant the consumer would be spending way less time surrounded by Scarface posters and a share from the resulting revenue boost. And in 2012, Colorado and
Yeah, those are all
should watch
weird.
Eon Flux. If you just include Democrats, the dude of practical benefits. Thomas in the apples like Alaska and Oregon would follow.
I don't know if you watched any of the Harry Potter movies.
No.
But when Hagrid was feeding one of the what is it, shark beak or whatever, it was like a big griffin. He was feeding them live ferrets, dude. He was just straight tossing ferrets at them. My girl's like, "Is that a ferret?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is."
There will be criticism. The Observer 777, what's up? Weren't you alive in 1973, says Atomic Ray. What's up, Ray? Ray's chilling.
I wasn't alive, not for another 8 years or something like that. You said 1973? Yeah, in another 8 years I was born.
I don't know, man. I don't know how.
Quality, racial bias,
I can't find
cruelty,
it.
and trauma while also allowing people to get super high so they can finally understand the film Cloud Atlas. Not a bad film when you get past all the Hugh Grant and tribal makeup stuff. Maybe it's a bad example. I don't know. I don't remember it. Have I seen it? Watch that. Watch movies. Another thing this would promise to destigmatize was, of course, the process of buying and selling weed. Legalization advocates claimed that legalization would make the cannabis industry safer, bringing it out of the shadowy underworld of drug cartels and into the light of overpriced Apple Store-esque dispensaries, taking over all the storefronts where Froyo shops and Barnes & Nobles once stood. Free and open competition in the cannabis market should naturally
It's not
drive
here.
prices
We've watched
down
this over and
and
over
quality
again.
up.
This is so
As well,
weird.
the pot industry would now be subject to the kinds of regulation, oversight, and transparency that you get for other legal industries. Along with making the product safer, this also meant the consumer would be spending way less time surrounded by Scarface posters in a basement apartment waiting for a dude named Donkey Punch to get home from his shift at Ruby Tuesdays just so you can stare at his fish tank while he pauses Madden and weighs out a single eighth. Cannabis research was another area that was promised to see big bet, even nuns, and bears. So it's super okay to simply celebrate the weed doors are
Maybe he
slowly
makes the
opening.
comment after
But
that.
you should also want that industry to be thriving and effective. And for Ted Cruz, who is rugged and loves his beers in a very natural way and not at all desperate kind of way. The taste of beer. Aside from politicians, the weed industry itself also stalled in 2022. And in some places,
some more
weed sales
news.
even
His channel's called Some More News. And he made the comment that for some reason people that sell cannabis have ferrets.
They said, brother, babe, this guy said that for some reason people that sell marijuana have ferrets. Damn. Come on, you got me.
I don't know, man. It's like at the very beginning, we started like if he made a comment at like the very, very beginning that I missed.
23 states, as well as Guam and DC.
We were watching all this.
And the government knows.
It's just I remember this.
Chong weed gummies under every.
There was something up on screen.
Really active through September.
And he makes the comment, dude. And I was like, I said, yo, my plug's got a ferret.
You guys remember that show? Oh, okay. Well, get it together. Okay. Watch.
Okay, here
Nationwide.
we go. So this is 20 minutes.
And while voters
20 minutes.
and taxpayers
this is
were
where we
told that
paused
this
it before.
revenue would go to things like education or rehabilitation programs or other projects that would benefit them and their communities. In reality, these funds are largely going. This is going to cops.
Yeah, see.
We're giving our weed money to cops.
I've covered this for
already
years.
Spent decades profiting greatly off of weed in America.
Covered on my show for years, Cody.
Sure, this is a different Cops we're talking about, like the TV show Cops, or maybe stripper cops, Cop Rock. Please tell me that the money is going to a second season of the musical TV show Cop Rock. I want to know if LaRusso finally gets what's coming to him. Sadly, we are not getting a new season of the hit series Cop Rock. Yet. But rather, there's a whole lot of states using weed money to fund the police in various ways, including, but not limited to, funding police raids on weed growers themselves. Meanwhile, Oregon tried, but thankfully failed, to reallocate $32 million in pot revenue to the police by taking that funding away from substance abuse recovery services. Super cool. Not at all whack. Currently, 15% of their cannabis taxes go to the state police there. California has been using weed to fund the highway patrol. And one study that looked at 28 California cities that legalized recreational weed found that 23 of them had since increased their police budgets. Meanwhile, their schools are running out of money. Neat. And in fact, a lot of public schools have not seen the boost they were promised. In Nevada, public schools have started formally complaining about missing cannabis tax revenue. In 2022, the state earmarked $100 million in cannabis revenue to go to schools, a drop in the bucket compared to the $2 billion that officials say they actually need. But hey, it's technically something. Still, Amanda Morgan, executive director of the nonprofit Educate Nevada Now, noted that a lot of the funding isn't actually going where it was intended. Through a process called supplanting, state legislators frequently move funds around and redirect them on a whim to other areas of the state budget. Meanwhile, as states pad their annual policing budgets with cannabis tax revenue, on the farms where they grow the cannabis, it's largely business as usual. As in the usual business of exploiting workers. A series of 2022 exposés by the LA Times found that cannabis workers across California continue to face abuse, wage theft, hazardous and squalid conditions, and even violence while working on the state's weed farms. At least 37 workers died on California cannabis farms in just the 5 years between 2016 and 2021. And only one of these deaths even triggered a workplace safety investigation. That seems like too many deaths. This show has been around for a decade, and we've only killed like half that many employees. Prompted by the Times reporting, state authorities have now set up a new unit to look into human trafficking across California cannabis farms. That's also been a concern for authorities in Oregon, where, in spite of legalization, illegal weed farms have still continued to flourish, some of them using nearby legal operations as cover. According to Politico, the quasi-legal, semi-regulated situation in many states has made them more appealing for human traffickers and others relying on undocumented immigrant labor. So basically, it's legal, but there's still crime. And while I don't think undocumented migrant labor is a threat, it's of course a way to exploit those people, and it also contributes to this cycle of over-policing. Weird, I thought legalization was supposed to get rid of the over-policing. What with all the weed pardons and such. Like, remember what the old guy did? You know the guy.
And President Biden announced he is pardoning all Americans convicted of simple marijuana possession under federal law.
There he is, in October of 2022, just ahead of the midterm election.
It's so funny. It's so appropriate for what we were talking about. I really wish I'd found that thing that he said.
Oh, yeah, the bear thing, dude. Yeah. I want to hear him say it.
God damn it. All right, let me just see.
Retail shops complain about.
I'm gonna look for it.
Lack of foot traffic, oversaturation and competition with bigger fish, taxes, and of course, regulation. But that's on top of a lot of additional problems unique to this industry. Problems we will be getting into, along with looking at what exactly cannabis legalization has done to the industry as a whole and where those taxes are going. It's all not great. So that's where this also meant the consumer would be spending the cannabis market, dispensaries taking over all the storefronts where Froyo shops and Barnes & Nobles once stood. Free and open competition in the cannabis market should naturally drive prices down and quality up. As well, the pot industry would now be subject to the kinds of regulation, oversight, and transparency that you get for other legal industries. Along with making the product safer, this also meant the consumer would be spending way less time surrounded by Scarface posters in a basement apartment, waiting for a dude named Donkey Punch to get home from his shift at Ruby Tuesdays just so he can stare at his fish tank while he pauses Madden and weighs out a single eighth. Cannabis research was another area that was promised to see big benefits post-legalization. Until this point, studies into the potential advantages and therapeutic uses for cannabis have long been stymied by its legal status. But states that passed these new reforms were now going to open up new avenues for research and funding. In 2019, NBC News health policy analyst Dr. Vin Gupta pointed out that the FDA can't evaluate cannabis products for their health and safety impacts because the federal government continues to view cannabis as a Schedule I drug, the same classification as heroin. Which is wild and something we will circle back to because despite all the progress we've made and seen, that currently remains true. Weed and heroin are on the same tier in the eyes of the federal government. And for that and a lot of other reasons, spoilers, most of the promises we're outlining here did not pan out. That is why we're doing this episode. But before we go any further, it's worth noting that it's okay to want to legalize weed just for the sake of doing that. There doesn't need to be an added benefit. Everyone likes getting high, even nuns and bears. So it's super okay to simply celebrate that the weed doors are slowly opening. But you should also want that industry to be thriving and effective and safe. Otherwise, those doors might shut once more. In fact, in terms of state legalization, the process has slowed. Part of that is because there are only so many states, and a lot of them have already legalized it. But there are still many holdouts, specifically red states, because they're squares, you see. And despite its national popularity, most people seem to agree that we're a long way off from any federal legalization, because Joe Biden is also a square. I mean, they all work in the government after all, but nerds. Except for Ted Cruz, who is rugged and loves his beers in a very natural way, and not at all desperate kind of way. The taste of beer. Aside from politicians, the weed industry itself also stalled in 2022, and in some places, weed sales even reversed.
In California and here in the salad bowl of the world, crops are thriving, according to the Monterey County Crop Report released on Tuesday, except cannabis. The report shows that cannabis values saw a decline of 54% from 2021 to 2022.
If you ask the business owners themselves, they'll point to the same stuff a lot of retail shops complain about, like foot traffic, oversaturation, and competition with bigger fish, taxes, and of course, regulation. But that's on top of a lot of additional problems unique to this industry. Problems we will be getting into, along with looking at what exactly cannabis legalization has done to the industry as a whole and where those taxes are going. It's all not great. So that's where we will be coming from here. But to do a second, cooler disclaimer, I'm not saying these new legalization and decriminalization laws have not done any good, or that we're never going to see any of these positive benefits. If you care about smuggling at the border, you might be happy to hear that legalizing the pot has likely reduced the flow of illegal cannabis into the country. And if you care about the precious jerk children, a March 2023 paper from the Journal of Economic Literature also found that minors weren't using cannabis at any higher rates post-legalization. Plus, they also noted that teens seem to consume less alcohol when medical weed is also available. Some early data also suggests legal weed may be having an impact on the levels of opioid deaths, but the researchers haven't reached any firm conclusions yet. Authors Mark Anderson and Daniel Rees suggest that everyone's predictions about dispensaries were spot on, specifically that it's trickier for teens to access cannabis now that licensed dispensaries requiring proof of age have largely replaced independently operating drug dealers. Some studies have also linked wider access to legal weed with a drop in suicide rates, particularly for males between the ages of 40 and 49. But again, we don't necessarily need any benefits here, because we like getting high, except when we get way too high right before filming. But what was I to do? Not eat the apples? I mean, I had them, so... Oh.
Yeah, dude, my computer keeps shutting off on its own. I just don't know what to do.
Hey, buddy. That's nice.
That's
Watch your
nice.
hams that you got too high, too high, too high, too high. He's repeating it. Too high, too high, tooth died, tooth died. Do you want me to call the cops so they can come help? If you don't text back, I'll call the cops and or the FBI. Happy Honda days. That's... 1 second. Okay, please. Don't call the cops. Thank you. He's not texting back. Man, I can't deal with the cops right now. Okay. Oh, okay.
My graphics card keeps getting hot.
That's fucked up.
Does that mean my graphics card's gonna go out?
I don't know. It's a laptop.
Nah, it's a PC, a pre-built.
You got fans in the case, right?
Yeah, I got fans in the case, and I got a giant fan on top on it. Good.
You open up your processes and see what's running.
How do you do that?
Hit Control Alt Delete,
Okay.
and then click on Task Manager.
Okay. Where am I looking at now?
Are you looking at a thing that says Task Manager, a window?
Yeah, it's open.
Does it say CPU at the top?
Says process, performance, app history, startup, users, details, and services.
Processes.
Okay. I don't see CPU on the left here.
What do you?
Where it says apps. I just see Discord, malware, bytes, tray application.
No. That's your software, bro. Off to the right.
Oh yeah, I see CPU.
What's at the top? No, click on CPU.
Okay. Okay.
What is the biggest number at the top of the list?
Yes.
What's the biggest number? How much is it? And what's at the top?
Arc. My shooter game is at, it says 20.1%.
That's not bad. What's underneath that?
Discord 3.7.
You're fine, bro. Where's your memory at?
25%.
That's fine. And does it say anything like? Is there anything else that looks weird, or does everything look normal to you? Your CPU usage is fine. What's the total percentage at the top of the screen? Above where it says CPU.
Wait.
Remember you said you saw your game arc was under
Yeah.
CPU. Above that, where it says CPU, is there a percentage?
Yeah, it says 39%.
Yeah, because it's changing. It's changing, right?
Yeah.
That's good.
Why would it be shut down?
You're
That's so weird.
you're fine as far as your processes are going. I still think it's those goddamn Bluetooth headsets you're fucking wearing, bro.
That's shutting it off?
Yup, I've been telling you this over and over and over again, man. It's the headphones that you're wearing. I have a
So,
feeling
should
that's what it
figure
was
out
for
more.
me. It was a Bluetooth device. I had to disconnect that Bluetooth and wire it in. Now, if it crashes when it's wired in, you know it's not that. But if
Right,
you
I'm wiring it in now.
But you have to turn. You make sure it's not connected Bluetooth. So.
Alright. It's setting up the device now.
That thing. Don't forget you're wired in, bro, because you're gonna want to get up and snap that cable.
Okay, so turn Bluetooth off, or just turn this off? Of
I would
Bluetooth?
turn Bluetooth off and see how long you go without a crash. If you don't crash, then you know it has something to do with Bluetooth.
Right. Well, the Bluetooth is off right now.
Okay, so you're gonna test it, and if how often are you crashing?
Dude, just I don't know. It's not very often.
Once
but
a day,
it's
once every 2 days?
like 3 times a day. 4
Okay,
times a day.
okay. So, how many times have you crashed today so far?
Once.
Okay, so let's see if it happens anymore. And if you can make it through the whole day, bro, it might be that fucking Bluetooth. And
So
then
I'd have
that
to just
means
go get a different headset
that
then.
means
Fuck.
you need to you need probably uninstall Bluetooth and reinstall it, and that's a bitch. It's fucking Windows makes it such a bitch. So you can lose all your Bluetooth capability.
I got Windows 10 too, bro.
Oh,
So
Windows
it's just
10's
like
easier.
even more.
Windows 10
is it?
is easier than Windows 11. Hell yeah, bro. Yeah. Windows 10's way better.
Yeah, I don't know why it be acting like that though. You're just like.
Well, I
don't
was
even
crashing
do
with
anything
Windows
to this
10.
PC.
It wasn't my Windows 10 wasn't updating properly. It was at this old version number, and it had to go up to the next version, and it wouldn't load certain patches. You know, those updates wouldn't load, so it wouldn't update the whole freaking system.
Well, I didn't have my PC for a little bit. It was in Florida at my apartment with my girl when I was flying back and forth and stuff.
Right.
And when I went to set it back up at my other house, the one that I just moved out of, I had to do something to it because it wouldn't update. Because from the time that it last updated to the updated version that it needed to be at, there was a bunch of stuff in between that it was supposed to get that it didn't update. So I had to erase some shit and re-download some stuff. It was a nightmare.
Wow.
Yeah. Coffee.
Oh, I see. So yeah, Google Chrome for me uses the most.
Oh, on your processes?
Yeah, Google Chrome and Edge barely uses any.
I got Microsoft Edge too.
Yeah, that shit uses a lot less.
Dude, I don't know about yours, but when last time mine updated, the Microsoft Edge has an AI now where you can like click a button and speak to it, and it'll pop everything up like boom, 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 boom.
Nice.
Yeah, that's crazy.
All right, let me get back to this. We're like 25 minutes in. see here.
Wow, the national debt is crazy. 33 billion, right? Is that 33 billion? My Chris, bro.
I thought legalization was supposed to get rid of the over-policing. What with all the weed pardons and such. Like, remember what the old guy did? You know the guy.
And President Biden announced he is pardoning all Americans convicted of simple marijuana possession under federal law.
There he is. In October of 2022, just ahead of the midterm election, President Pseudonym Biden pardoned thousands of Americans who had been convicted under federal marijuana possession laws, clearing everyone who had been convicted on these charges all the way back to the 1970s. But while this is certainly a positive step in the right direction, you might have noticed the very specific wording in that clip: simple marijuana possession, meaning that this doesn't relate to anyone whose charges include anything beyond being caught with weed. Federal convictions for selling or distributing pot still stand. Also, this doesn't apply to any state charges, which, when you think about it, makes this really useless. Who the hell is getting busted for possession on a federal level? Is that something the FBI really goes after? Is Agent Fox Mulder sticking the fluke man in cuffs for a dime bag? So only around 6,500 people were convicted of simple possession by the federal government between 1992 and 2021. And not a single person was in federal prison on these charges when Biden issued the pardon. Instead, those charges got wiped for people who had already completed their sentences, making it easier for them to find housing, apply for jobs or education programs, get federal benefits, all that good stuff. And it is good stuff. In fact, generally, if you've served your sentence, maybe it shouldn't still be hard for you to get housing or apply for jobs or education programs or good federal benefits. That's like the whole point of serving your time. It's in the phrase. You served it. But also, this is not really the kind of sweeping reform you would expect. The president also urged governors on the state level to follow his lead, and that would certainly have a lot more impact if they listened to him. But it's more likely that they are just gonna do whatever they feel like doing. It's not like they need Biden's blessing here. In fact, back in 2019, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker granted more than 11,000 pardons for low-level cannabis convictions, all by himself. In Illinois, the expungement process was actually baked into the legalization law, easing the process for Pritzker specifically. You could argue that Biden recommending pardons will actually do the opposite in some states like Florida, where the meaty governor is specifically seeking to undermine the current president. But even Democratic governors face a number of obstacles that have kept these thousands of cannabis offenders in prison, even as people on the outside enjoy the very same activity for which they were convicted and jailed. In Massachusetts, former Republican Governor Charlie Baker has said the pardon process is too complicated to use for the scale of cannabis convictions. In Louisiana, Democratic Governor John Bel Edwards praised Biden's decision, but said he lacks the authority to do likewise in his state. State law blocks the governor from issuing bulk pardons, so the Louisiana Board of Pardons would need to sign off on each individual case, which unfortunate and tedious, but also still do that. Oh no, extra paperwork. But basically, Biden urging governors to issue pardons is like if I urged everyone to buy a horse. Maybe some of you could do that, but for others, it's logistically impossible, and that's assuming you even want a horse, which you should. Horses are very useful. So by most estimates, there are still 30,000 to 40,000 Americans behind bars on state-level possession crimes. Remember, that's not selling or distribution, that's just having some cannabis on your person. NORML estimates that 350,000 Americans were arrested for cannabis-related crimes in 2020 alone.
We're gonna get back to that in a second.
So I have a long position open, and I am very careful here because I think this might be a time up here to take some profits. Look here, resist or support there, some support here, right? We know that this is a massive resistance level. Look at that resistance there. So yeah, we are running into massive resistance right now, around 27.5 approximately. The upper point of this band is actually $28,000, and this red line you can see is actually quite significant, as it has been before. This bull market support band is the 20-week SMA and the 21-week EMA, if you want to put it into your trading view. Yeah, let me now go over to the huge news. All right, guys. So this news is from Casta, which is now called K-App, by the way. Something that I've been waiting for a very long time to finally be able to announce, and that is the fact that Casta or K-App, they have now integrated IBAN numbers. Now, let me tell you that once one again here, like,
I don't know what that means.
they have integrated IBAN numbers. This is something that I have not seen any other competitor out there. If you go to the other crypto exchanges that I usually talk about, or other competitors over on Twitter,
I don't know what that means.
You know, none of them have IBAN numbers. This is acting, you know, with the functionality of being able to pay bills through the app. You know, I have the Casta app right here, or sorry, K app.
Yeah, that's cool, but I don't want to use my crypto to pay my bills, bro. I want to use the cash coming in to pay my bills. I don't want to take cash out of my crypto to pay my bills, dumbass, because then I got to pay taxes on it. You fucking moron. What kind of advice is that to give people? You know, you got income, cash coming in. That's what you pay your fucking bills with, right? You don't put the money in crypto, then pull money out of crypto so the government can tax you on it, that you profited off of that crypto, so you then pay your fucking bills with it. That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my entire life. My goodness, folks. Hey, man, this is financial advice. You're listening to Carl the Moon, man. Sometimes you're going to get some bad advice. That was some horrible advice. Don't do that. You got money in crypto, hodl that shit, man. You got cash, it's fucking worthless. The only shit that's good for is paying your bills with, or buying more crypto. But don't take your crypto out, man. You're paying taxes on it. And if you don't pay your taxes on that crypto, they're going to fucking find you, because all that shit gets reported by all of the exchanges. Even if you sell it with an offline exchange, your offline wallet. Atomic Ray's talking to you in the chat, Pinoy. Rumble chat. How do you know it's your graphics card that's getting hot? Could it be something else like the processor or the power supply? You're muted.
Because it's hot to the touch only when it shuts off. Like super hot. And then when it's not, when it's working just fine, then it's you know, then it's working. You know what I'm saying? It's cool. I mean,
When's the last time you blew it out?
like maybe 2 weeks ago.
Oh shit, nice. That bitch is all clean.
Yeah, no, I keep her nice.
So it ain't that. You use that DeWalt?
What?
The DeWalt air compressor?
No, I bought a couple cans.
Dude.
And
Dude, that yellow DeWalt air compressor, turn that bitch on. Take your fucking computer out there next time. Use the little trigger thing on there, if it's still there. Oh, dude, it's awesome.
Okay.
So you are touching the card. That is good.
Yeah, I can physically put my hand on it. I even turned the LEDs off on the card itself, just to minimize the temperature. You know what I'm saying?
Atomic Ray's reminding me it's my government that taxes me. Thank you, Ray, for reminding me that. I completely forgot. I thought that was somebody else's government. The graphics card. It sounds like driver issue. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. He's gonna have to update his fucking as drivers. When's the last time you did that?
Last time I was telling you about it. Remember?
Not Windows Update, but your like your graphics card driver and your.
How do you do that?
You are you using NVIDIA graphics?
Yeah.
Do you have the NVIDIA experience installed?
No. I don't even know what that is.
That's how you install the drivers with NVIDIA. Or you just go to their website and download them and run the thing, and it'll just do it for you. It'll ask you if you want to do a clean install and just say no. Keep your old settings, and it'll just go flash. Your screen will blink off a couple times. It'll come back on, and boom, your drivers will be installed. So go to NVIDIA. You got to know what kind of a card you got.
I got a GeForce RTX 2080 Ti.
Great, you know exactly what it is. Now go to nvidia.com, and it'll be right there on the front page, dude. There should be a thing where it's like it'll auto detect your system, or you could just type in what you just told me. It's got drop down menus. You'll pick, GeForce. You'll pick, all the numbers and shit, the TI. It's all there, bro, in the drop down menus, and then it'll give you your driver to download. And you can install Experience if you want to, which makes it easy to install drivers. You don't have to go to their website. You just click on Experience, and I've got it right here, and it'll tell me if I need to install drivers. There's a thing up at the top left that says drivers. Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. Game isn't optimized. Optimal would be in ultra graphics settings. Whoa, dude. Drivers. Version, release date 9/12/23. You have the latest GeForce Game Ready driver, so I've got my drivers are up to date. There's a check for updates on the GeForce Experience too, top right. Just click the link. I think we're good, guys. You guys take care. I will see y'all later. Have a great one. I will see you later today. How's that? Love you guys. Thanks for watching my show. And I'll keep my eye on this dropping market. It's starting to drop. So it didn't hold that 27.5. That's our new Bollinger Band we got to get over. So maybe we'll get a shot later in the day. Hopefully, we'll see, because we just had a big head and shoulders pattern form, and that's not good. All right, love y'all. Take care. Bye now. Bye-bye.